Perfect. So welcome to today's training on how to create a profitable program for your business so that you can actually go out and get more clients. And my hope and my desire for you here today on this training is to actually be able to leave this training with a profitable program roadmap in your hands, along with a way to be able to clearly articulate that, so that irresistible offer, if you will, so that you could literally go out and set up a sales call tomorrow and sell this program even before you've created it. And this is the real power in being able to put together and package up a program, right? So plan it, price it, and come up with a strategy to promote it, but not just any program, a program that's set up that your clients are going to want to buy. Because the greatest thing about having this program packaged and organized into a system that you can walk your clients through is that it lends your program credibility to what you're doing, to how to create order out of chaos, right? So that it doesn't just feel like you're selling air. And so that you can put all of your ideas, your skills, your experiences, and all of the things that you're passionate about, right? Your certifications you've done, your modalities that you use. You can really take all of these things, package them up into an organized system that really gives you the confidence to go out, clearly articulate your offer, and bring your expertise to the world so you can change more lives while also making more money. Because the more organized that your program is, the more you can raise your rates and rest into your program almost being like a framework, right? That your clients can utilize, that tool that's going to help them get those transformational results that you're offering. So rather than them feeling like they're buying you and relying solely on you, which can be potentially scary for them, but also maybe makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? Then what you can do is your package, your program, your system, right? Because we're talking about a profitable program. Some people refer to it as a signature program, right? As a marketable program. It's the program then that becomes that framework that they can lean into and rest into, which is a completely different energy when you're going out and selling, right? So the cool thing is that we're going to walk you through a simple process in today's training where I've done this myself and I've done this for other clients, where you're actually going to get a chance to map out, to take a map and put it on paper, exactly your signature program, your marketable program, your profitable program, right? So if you're just hopping on or you're already here, there's that link in the chat right now. You can go grab that worksheet that we're going to use it. Make sure you've got a pen and a paper, notebook, all of that stuff as we go through this, because this isn't just going to be a me talking training. We're actually going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to do the work, because I really want you to leave this training today with that roadmap in place and with that irresistible offer in place, so you could literally go out and get some clients and as early as next week. So for those of you who don't know me, although I think everybody does know me on this training, my name's Kim, obviously, and for over 13 years, I was a financial advisor. And one of the biggest things that I struggled with was getting new clients. And I went to finance school, right? And the one thing that they don't teach you in finance school is that good old, how the heck do you get clients, right? So I was great at going out and putting a plan together once I had a client. But what they didn't teach me in finance school was how to go out and do all of the marketing, how to do the sales, how to find the clients, where was I gonna do them? And if I would take a guess, I'd figure most of you are in your business because you're passionate about what you do, right? But you didn't actually get started doing what you're doing. Like, you didn't go to business or marketing school like me. So if that's you, pop a yes in the chat that you didn't go to business or marketing school, but you've kind of almost fallen into your business, or I call it like being the accidental entrepreneur, right? Like, I got started doing book coaching because I had solved a problem for myself while I was in my finance career that then shifted me into the current entrepreneur journey that I am in right now. So while I completely sucked at finding clients for my finance business, and I was on the income roller coaster, I call that, right? Can anybody relate to the income roller coaster where you're having a really great month and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, where's my next client coming from? And it's this anxiety that I constantly felt in the pit of my stomach, going, where the heck is my next client going to come from? And what that really resulted in for me was this imposter syndrome feeling that I constantly had. I thought, how can I go out and be a financial advisor when I suck and I don't even have any of my own damn money? Right? And it wasn't necessarily that I didn't know what to do with the money when I had it, but it's that I didn't have the marketing and sales skills to go out and find clients. Completely different thing, but kept me in that spot where I just felt horrible about myself. And so as I was tucking my tail between my legs and going out and getting a job for that, I don't know how manyth time, because I'd try to be an independent advisor and then struggle so much with money that I'd go back and get myself a job, a job that I hated, the soul sucking place where I had my thumb on my, people had their thumb on my head. I was in a very male dominated industry, right? You were underappreciated, overworked, and I hated being in the job. So I desperately wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I knew that I was going to need better skills to do that. So I set out on that journey, and day by day, month by month, I'd go learn new marketing strategies. I hired mentors and coaches so I could accelerate my results. And I remember being at this one big, huge event, the world's greatest marketing seminar. It was in LA. I love to travel. So anytime I would have an opportunity to go to a course or a program that was not in my town, I would jump on a plane and go. And so I was in LA at the world's greatest marketing seminar, listening to someone talk about all of the different ways you could market your business. So how to use a podcast to grow your business, right? How to use an email list to grow your business, how to use a book to grow your business, and all of those tactics. And I was listening to the speaker that talked about writing a book and how it positions you as a credible expert, right? How it does all of these magical things for your business, like brings you new clients and gets you on stages. And so as I was sitting there in the audience listening to that strategy, it really made a lot of sense for me. And so I also implore you, while I'm sharing this, to think about what I'm going to share with you today. And a lot of mentors that I work with talk about the whole philosophy of harvest the best, right? And throw away the rest. So if something I'm telling you doesn't land and resonate with you, that's okay. I'm just sharing with you my experience about how I got to and how it's transformed my business. And if it works to help you get some better results, then that's amazing. If it doesn't feel like it's right for you, it's okay. There's more than one way to get to from A to Z. This is the way that I've found that really works. So I wrote my first book, right? I ended up taking that coach up on an offer and bought a program to write and publish my first book, The Financial Fitness Playbook, The Ultimate Guide to Winning the Money Game. And in less than 12 months, my business had literally doubled. I stopped having to chase clients. They came to me. Why? Because my book was opening doors to things like speaking opportunities, like the summit that I met some of you on and some of you spoke on. It opened the door to podcast opportunities, to getting in front of other people's private client coaching communities as a guest expert speaker. And all of these things started amplifying my visibility, especially in my hometown, where I remember the first time I went to a networking event and somebody came up to me and said, Kim, oh my God, I've been seeing you everywhere. I've seen you on TV. I've heard you on the radio. And oh my God, I've been wanting to meet you. I've been wanting to reach out and get in touch with you. And I'm like, I had no idea who this person was, but I was realizing that, oh my gosh, this strategy is working. Like, I literally didn't have to chase people down anymore. The clients were coming to me. Long story short, I had a second epiphany, which was I now had a business. I had a bigger business and I hated my business. And I realized I just created a big old monster with my marketing and I actually was just in the wrong business. It wasn't necessarily as much of a client attraction problem that I had as that I was probably repelling people because I hated what I was doing and I didn't want to do it anymore. So with that, I made this huge big pivot and I thought, oh my gosh, I got such amazing results. And I know so many entrepreneurs. This is the biggest struggle I hear with people is how do I go out and find new clients? And so if you're struggling with that, you're in the right place today because we're really going to deep dive into how that is going to work in conjunction with the book, right? It's also having how do you work somebody down a path, and it starts with knowing what you're going to offer them at the end of the journey, right? It was really easy for me when I started my book coaching program. I didn't even have my book at the time. I just had an idea in my head that I wanted to help other people do this. I did this exact strategy of what I'm sharing with you to do today. And 3 days after I did it, I had my first paying client for Write and Grow Rich. 3 days it took me after doing exactly what I'm going to teach you to do today. And not only did it work for me, but it's worked for countless other people that I've brought into my communities, right? So my clients, Sarah and Robin, we went through this exact same formula I'm going to teach you today. And in less than a week, they had their first $1,000 paying client. So how much would $1,000 change your life right before Christmas right now in the next week? Maybe you'll get results like Alana did. So when I walked Alana through this exact process, I worked with her on a Monday with this strategy. On a Friday, she signed up her first $3,000 client. And then by the following Friday, she had a second one. So $6,000 in less than 2 weeks doing this exact same formula. It's simple and it's easy when you know the path you're going to bring somebody down. And that's what we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to do today. So I hope you're excited to dive into this training. But before we do, I'd love to take you through just a little bit of a grounding exercise. Let's lean into what we're going to do today. So if it feels good for you, I'd invite you to close your eyes. Get yourself settled into your chair. If you can, plant your feet on the ground. I want you to connect with the earth. I want you to connect with the chair or whatever is holding space for you, beneath you, and supporting you. And I want you to take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, a nice deep cleansing breath. And a big, powerful exhale. Another big, deep breath in. And I want you to exhale out, a nice deep exhale. And with every inhale, and with every exhale, I want you to feel yourself breathing in confidence and love and light and energy and abundance. And as you exhale out, I want you to feel yourself relaxing and releasing any tension, any anxiety, any fear, anything that you feel might be holding you back right now. And one more big deep breath in and exhale out. And I want you to know that today you're creating a transformational program that's going to empower your clients to achieve remarkable results. I want you to know that your experience, your expertise, and your unique approach make you the perfect guide for those people right now that are seeking positive change in their lives. You trust in your ability to design a program that's going to be transformational and engaging, and that captures the attention and the hearts of your clients. I know you're dedicated to providing immense value to your clients, ensuring that every aspect of the program that you're going to design today is going to support their growth and their transformation. You are worthy of success as a creator of transformational programs. And I believe that the impact that you're going to have on the lives of those who enroll in your program. You embrace any challenges that might come up while you're designing this course, knowing that they will push you to expand your skills and create something truly remarkable. I want you to know that each module that you create is going to bring you closer to achieving your goals of helping your clients get lasting change and transformation. You're confident in your ability to communicate your knowledge effectively. You trust your intuition and the guidance that flows through you to create your transformational program. You know your program will resonate deeply with those who enroll. And I want you to release any fears and doubts about your program's success, knowing that it's rooted in your passion, in your expertise, and in your dedication to helping others. And as you rest into that knowingness, you can take another couple of deep breaths in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room. Take a little stretch. I like to stretch. And then let's get ready. Let's get ready to do a little work. Let's get ready to bring this program to life so you can get some clients in the door between now and the new year. Make that change in your life. Awesome. So who's excited? Who's excited to get going and get some freaking clients before Christmas here, right? Let's make some noise. Let's get this going on. So I want you to, we're going to be going through this document that you have on your Google Drive, right? The one that I just brought up for you. And it's all about how we're going to go about formulating and designing this program, right? So we're going to walk through today this process that's really going to help you get clear on what your program is, who it is that you serve, right? We're going to create a client attracting title if we have time for your program. You're going to decide what you're going to put in the program, right? All of the modules. And you're going to price your program, and we're going to get you ready with a irresistible, juicy offer that you're going to be able to feel confident going out to and presenting to the world, right? I'm going to also help you set up your program rates and a pricing strategy so that you can get a few more yeses. So how many people want a few more yeses to clients, right? And doing this structure is really going to be the thing that magically changes everything for you. I'm absolutely confident in that. And so let's dive right in. So the first thing I want you to know is, just like it says we're going to be going through, I've got my notes. Let me get my notes. We're going through the 5 Ps, right? It's a big shocker, I'm sure. If anybody knows you, I've got my 5 Ps to my book program. This is the 5 Ps for your profitable and recession-proof signature program. So we're going to walk through these 5 Ps to creating a program that gets your clients results and helps make you money. And it all starts with the foundation of picking a client. Now, this is something that I find some people just tend to struggle with, no matter how many times I talk to people about it. It's one of the biggest challenges that people have, which is picking a niche and understanding why it's important to pick a niche. Because it actually is part of this attraction process, right? If you want to chase clients, talk to a whole bunch of people, don't be clear. If you want to attract clients, when you get laser focused on who you are going to pick and talk to, then everything becomes so much easier. So I remember when I was designing my program, for some reason, this kind of always just really made sense with me. When I was in financial services, I used to talk to everybody. And I was really, really, really probably part of the big problem that I didn't have a really successful client attraction strategy, was that I was talking to everybody. And there is an expression, you've probably heard it, right? If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. right? Because everybody gets lost in the noise. Would you agree that online right now, especially, it's freaking noisy as heck? There's stuff flying through the news feed like crazy. If you're not literally talking specifically to one specific person who has one big, huge problem, you're not getting through the noise. So to cut through the noise, this is one of the most important things to do. So think about how I talked to most of you about getting you to this, this training today. It's simple, right? The biggest problem that you have, or that people have typically that come to this training, is you don't have enough clients. It's the biggest problem. It's like, I can't get another client. I don't know where to find the clients. I need more clients. And so when I address the problem of, hey, what if you could find a client in as little as a week using this strategy? People who don't have enough clients, ping, their ears pop up, right? They're like, yeah, that's me. I hear you. Like, help me out with that, right? So number one in that formula for picking your perfect client is you need to know what the problems your client has. And so you want to put problem in that spot right there. And I'm not just talking any problem, because your clients probably have lots of problems, right? My clients have lots of problems. They don't understand marketing. They don't know how to put a funnel together. They don't have message clarity. They're not really sure how to pick their clients, whatever. But in this case, and for the purpose of this exercise, what I want you to do is focus on the biggest. So if you had to do a sub thing here, you want to focus on the biggest and the most urgent problem that somebody has. So I've used my example, right? Getting clients, which the biggest urgent problem, most urgent part of that problem is usually money, right? Behind the scenes of that. So now, for example, if you were a weight loss coach, how would you create urgency in a program like that? Would be potentially focusing on a client who needs to lose 10 or 20 pounds to fit into their bikini because they're going on a holiday, right? Or maybe they want to squeeze themselves into, or just look better and feel more confident in their wedding dress because they're getting married next month. So I want you to take a minute right now to write down. Now, I know some of you, I gave you some pre-homework because you're already clients. So Dr. Mel, Aparna, Julie, you had, I had you, yes, you've done your mind maps, woohoo. If you haven't done a mind map, don't worry about it. You're just going to jot down 3, 4, 5 problems that your clients, that you think are your perfect clients, that they have. If you already have clients, you'd want to be thinking about, what are those things you hear people saying all the time that are a challenge for them, right? What obstacles do they face? What are they struggling with? What are those fears that keep them up at night? Jot some down if you haven't done the exercise. For those of you who have done the exercise, I want you to look at that list that you created and pick out the biggest, most painful one that you can see on that list. This will be the most important part of figuring out who it is that you want to work with. Because if you can talk to somebody's biggest pain, you will attract their attention, and you will be able to get them to do the thing that they need to do, which is invest in a program, invest in getting the results more quickly, right? So that's part one of the picking your perfect client. Number two, that second blank spot that you're going to be filling in is all of the results that you want your client to get, those transformational results, right? So what is it that you're going to help your client achieve with respect to results, right? For me, it's, you're going to get a program designed that helps you get more clients, right? You're going to leave this training with a roadmap and an offer designed. You're going to be able to go and get a client in as little as a week using this framework. So you want to maybe define your results that you're going to help somebody get based on what are the wins they're going to achieve, right? So more clients, more money, lose 20 pounds, fit into your dress, whatever those things are that you help somebody do. But secondarily, the sub subcategories for this result section will be, what are the wins that they're going to feel? What are the wins they're going to achieve? And most importantly, how does it make them feel? Right? So you've kind of heard me doing that a little bit here. Like, imagine what it would feel like to have $1,000 by next week before Christmas. Right? These are important things that you want to do because you want to evoke feeling in your clients. People buy based on emotion, and then they justify their buying decisions with facts later. So the more you can get somebody to feel into the result, to imagine what it would look like, right? This is when your offer is going to have more power. So it's also, again, how you pick the client you want to work with, right? Because it's a client that wants to get these results. So if I went back to the fitness example again, to do a parallel, so I'm not always using my own example, but it would be like, if you want to help somebody lose weight, if the win isn't as big for them, they're not gonna see that, right? So we talked about losing weight is the problem that they have. The big win is, how are they going to feel when they're walking down the aisle in their wedding dress with like just feeling sexy and confident, and for their husband or their wife or whoever it is they're walking down the aisle to, right? How are they going to feel when they are, at the beach, looking good, feeling confident, right? Those were the two examples I used, like the holiday and the wedding as the urgent piece. So if we're using the same analogy, right? So whatever it is that you help your clients do, what's the wins that they're going to experience and how does it make them feel? If you haven't done the exercise, again, you're going to just jot a few of these down right now, right? Take a moment. And if you haven't been doing it while I've been talking and giving some examples, for those of you who did your list, this is the results list is huge. It's, again, going to set up your offer for the most success. So pick the 2 or 3 juiciest wins and feelings out of that list that you can be using then when you're talking to your perfect client. And the third thing that you want to use when you're picking a client and deciding who it is that you want to work with is, are they able to pay you for your services? Are they able to invest in your services? And are they willing to? Do they value the type of advice that you're giving? So I remember when I was a financial advisor and I was deciding, the very first thing I thought I might get out of, instead of doing the traditional advisory role, was I might get into financial literacy and education. And I thought maybe instead of like actually just trying to sell mutual funds and life insurance, I'd actually just get into teaching and training people on just how to educate themselves to be able to make these decisions more effectively. That way I could get out of the whole commission-based only and actually charge for programs. And I realized when I was thinking about that product or that program that I was looking at creating, the one thing that I felt like was not going to happen most effectively is that people are used to, especially in Canada and the US, quite frankly, is they're used to getting that advice for free, which means they're typically not a good person to invest in it, because they think that they have this story that they can just go out and get that information for free. So why would they pay me for it? Right? So the person that you're looking to attract into your business needs to have the ability to pay, but also needs to have the willingness to pay. So investment is the thing that goes in that blank spot. And then the subcategories would be, are they able to pay and are they willing to pay? Those are the 2 subcategories to that third spot on your sheet there. And they're really, really, really important when you're deciding who to pick. So your job right now is to pick a client. Right? I want you to grab one client. And so I'll give you one last example so that you understand how this all works. And that is, so when I wrote my financial fitness playbook, right? I wrote this actually with the intention and the purpose in mind to be able to really, 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 really niche down and dial in, right? Who it is that I wanted to work with. So the Financial Fitness Playbook, the ultimate guide to winning the money game, eventually, before I changed direction and decided I wanted to teach people how to write books more than I wanted to teach people about their finances. The original goal had been to create a huge empire and way more books in a series of books. And this strategy works whether you're creating a program, whether you're creating lead magnets, whether you're creating a book, whether you're creating a webinar or a masterclass. It's always the same underlying principles of understanding your perfect client, the problem they have, the results they're trying to get, and are they a good client? Can they pay you for what you're offering? And so the ultimate guide to winning the money game was actually going to turn into a series where I was going to actually do the baby boomers guide. So I was going to do a whole series, right? The Financial Fitness Playbook, the baby boomers guide to winning the money game, the couples guide, the entrepreneurs guide, the single parents guide. So that in my marketing channels, I'd be able to laser focus in my languaging to one client at a time. So again, this whole niching down is something that I want you to think about as you're creating this current offer. And if there's 5 people that you could be helping for the purpose of today's exercise, just pick one of them. So that's what I want you to do right now. I want you to pick one that we're going to work with through the rest of this exercise. And if you've picked that one person that you're going to work with, I'd love for you to drop that in the chat right now. Let me know who it is that you're going to be working with so I can potentially think of some examples specific to you. Who is it that you want to be working with, that you want to be attracting through this program? And if you could drop that into the chat right now. So I love Dr. Mel. Hers is super clear. Being a former educator, she wants to work with educators who potentially want to leave education and follow another path. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. If you start talking and creating messaging around that, they're going to laser target right onto you, right? Because they know if they don't want to be in education anymore, they just don't know what their next step is. You're going to provide the light and the vision for them, right? That possibility of what it might look like on the other side of education. So if any other of you want to pop in an idea, female coaches who coach physicians. Wow, that is absolutely laser targeted. So yes, if you are wanting to help coaches who coach physicians and doctors, amazing, because we know that they'll definitely fit number 3, they can pay for it, right? If they're working with physicians and doctors, they're probably already have some good money to invest. So that's fabulous and super laser targeted. I love that. I'm excited to see what you'll come up with that for that, Julie. Anybody else who wants to pop into that, that's great. Business coaches, but of course that's a huge umbrella. So you need to be drilled down further. Definitely, that could be something you drill down, Anastasia, for sure. And, you know, for the purpose of today, you could work with business coaches. And as you're thinking about different verticals, you could do that, right? I definitely started with a very generic vertical and moved into something a little bit more niche. And your strategy might be very niche, right? Anastasia, I know that you're working with people to help them with podcast support and community building. So you might not need to get as niche with the person if your strategy is very niche. So mine was the book coaching strategy. Again, very, very niche strategy. So that could work very effectively for you. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the program types. Okay, so in your workbook, we're going to talk about the program types. There's 3 programs and you need to pick one that you're going to work with. And I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on which program you should start with for today's purpose. So there's 3 types of programs. Every coach needs them, and most coaches start in the wrong order. So number 1 is a one-on-one program. That's the first type of program. It's typically what we refer to as, you know, the coaching, right? You're going to have a one-on-one private client coaching program. It still will work with this framework. It's just who you're going to kind of go after, right? When we leave this training. Number 2 is a group coaching program. So the rubber meets the road when you start doing a group coaching program. I remember I was doing my one-on-one coaching program, right? My Moringa Rich program, one client at a time. one client at a time. Enrollment is painful. Delivery is painful. You're working way too many hours. You only have enough space in the week to take on so many clients. The power of leverage happens when you can start your very first group program. In my case, I didn't even know that I was there yet. And I had a girl in my community who knew she wanted to take my program. She already knew what the pricing was on my one-on-one coaching. And she was like, I can't afford you, Kim, but I've got an idea. Would you be willing to do this? What if you cut your program price in half and ran it as a group program? And I'm like, cut my program price in half. What? Says no one ever. Right? But after I sat down and thought about it for about 30 seconds, I thought, okay, well, then I only need to get 2 people into the group program to be making the same amount of money in the same amount of time. I'm like, if I can get more than 2, the rest is gravy. I'm like, Bob's your uncle, sign me up for that. I'm doing it. She helped me to prospect. So we used the strategy of using an affiliate to help you bring people into your program. And in my very first group program launch, in 30 days, I enrolled 14 people into my first ever group program. So let me summarize that for you. 14 students. In 30 days, I had a 5-figure launch. I'm telling you, this is possible for you. If you're already doing one-on-one coaching and already have an idea of how you coach people, you're already doing this, maybe you consider doing a group program. If you don't have any clients, if you've never enrolled a client before, start with one-on-one coaching. You can still do both. But I'm telling you, if you have a group model, you collapse your timeframes, you leverage your time and energy, and there's something magical about putting people in a group. You know why? They all help each other. You get a community, you get a container. When I can't think of the idea and I'm stuck, guess what? Anastasia helps Julie. Julie helps Deshawn, and everybody works together to help brainstorm idea. And the power of the mastermind was something, it just made my hair on my arms stand up just talking about it. It was magical. I've pretty much never gone back to one-on-one coaching anymore because I love teaching in this environment. It allows people to connect, to build relationships. And it makes me not be the only person that's contributing to the program, right? So consider a group program. Number 3 is an evergreen program, right? The online course. This is typically where I see most entrepreneurs make their mistake. They want to go to the online course. They want the make money in your sleep money, right? The evergreen program that's going to just bring them in clients. And then I had a coach tell me, before you learn to make money in your sleep, you need to learn to make money while you're awake. So let's start with either 1 or 2, and then everything you're going to build with your clients, you're going to learn whether it's working or not, and you can turn it into the evergreen program later. Okay. So action step number 2 is pick a program. If you don't have a lot of one-on-one clients, or you're changing your program and starting a brand new one today, I want you to pick one-on-one because we're going to help you go out and get 1 or 2 clients before the end of next week, right? Knowing that the framework you're going to create today will become your group program later and your online program later, right? So if you know which program you're picking, drop it in the chat right now. I want to know what your action step is and that you did it. Tell me what kind of program you're creating right now while I grab my notebooks. Julie's going straight for the group. Good job, Julie. I love it. Where's my group? Dr. Mel's going straight for group 2. Love it, love it, love it. One-on-one, Susanna, that's amazing. Preferring group, but no problem. You're going to build out your structure here. You're going to go verify it, right? You're going to affirm it. You're going to validate it with a couple of one-on-one clients. And then by January, February, March, maybe you're turning it into a group. So it's perfect. Wherever you're at, I want you to know it's perfect, right? So Angie's going to one-on-one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Going from pro bono hobby ministry coaching to paying clients. I love it. And Deshawn is going one-on-one. So remember, whatever you're doing today here, the program structure is the same. It's just you're either going to be talking to one person or you might be talking to more than one person. You might be talking to everybody one-on-one and then putting them into this container of a group or the container of starting with them one-on-one. Either way, all of the foundational stuff you're learning here today will work for all of these. So awesome on picking that out. Where is my darned, I hate Zoom and Windows and everything else. I can never find what the heck I'm looking for. Where the heck is that program template? There it is. Okay. So we are now at the packaging. So there you go. You've already gone through the first P. You've got your plan in place. You're ready to go. Let's rock and roll. Number two is you want to now, I'm going to talk to you about how to package this up. So it's beautiful. It's something everybody wants to buy. It's going to be awesome. And there are 3 important C's when you're putting your packaging together. The good thing is there's only 3 of them. The 3 C's are your curriculum, right? You need to know what you're going to teach. Sounds pretty straightforward. But the other 2 C's are the biggest one that people kind of, I think, forget to mention, especially when we go to offer creation, is that these 3 things are really powerful when you're articulating what your program is all about. Because most people go only for this one. They talk about all the curriculum. Oh, you're going to get this module and this module and this module and this module and this worksheet and this thing. And nobody talks about the other pieces of the package that are equally, if not more important than your curriculum. C number 2 is your coaching. So how are you going to support the people to get the results that they're looking for, right? Super, super important when we're talking about the C's, and we're going to dive into them a little bit deeper in just a minute. And then the third part of this is the community. How are you going to bring people together in community? People will come for the curriculum. I'm telling you right now, they will stay for the community that you create for them. So you need to have all 3 of these things if you want to have a program that not only gets you clients now, but keeps your clients coming back and staying with you for more and more and more of what you have to serve. So let's deep dive into what this looks like when in terms of what you're packaging your things out. So the first C, curriculum, starts with your assets. Right? So this is the point where Julie and Dr. Mel and Aparna, you will have created that mind map that I asked you to do where you brain dump all of the stuff, right? This is where, and if you are just doing this right now for the first time, Deshawn and Angie and Susanna and Anastasia, although I know some of you have already kind of done stuff similar to this in some of the communities that we belong to. This is where you want to identify all of your things, put it all out, every skill, every tool, every training, every modality, every certification you've ever done, all of the handouts you've ever created, or lead magnets, or processes, or videos, or audios. You just want to pile it all out of your brain, go collect it all, and figure out all of the things that you have. Because I'm telling you right now, your assets, you already have them, right? All of the skills and the trainings and the tools and the think about life experiences can go into this too, because they become the stories, right? The testimonies. Have you helped yourself? Have you helped someone else go through any of these things that you're about to help somebody go through, right? Your life is your PhD that got you to where you are now. So this program that you're about to create, nobody's ever done it exactly the way you're going to help people do it. No one, because nobody has the same skills, the same trainings, the same modalities, has taken the same courses, has been through the same struggles and obstacles that you have been through. Which reminds me, I'll tie back one last thing for the perfect client. Typically, your perfect client is someone just 2 or 3 steps behind what you've experienced. Right? That was a really important part I forgot, and this just reminded me of it. Your perfect client is a version of you a few steps behind you. And you don't need to find clients that are any more behind you than a couple of steps, and you're going to take them by the hand and you're going to bring them along your journey with the tools and resources and skills that you've already figured out on how they can put the puzzle together for themselves with your help. Right? So I want you to, as you're doing this exercise, hopefully you see like, wow, just all of the stuff that you've been through, that you've gone through. And hopefully this is something that helps you kind of overcome. I know a lot of new coaches and people that haven't really packaged programs before. One of the biggest things I hear people say is that they have that imposter syndrome. Like, I've never taught this before. Right? But you've done a lot. You've done so much stuff. And hopefully this list of stuff you just put down on a page shows you how much you've actually done and accomplished, that you can help somebody who's come before you just take that next step in their journey, right? With your help. So once you've got all those assets together, I know Dr. Mel and Julie and Aparna have them together. Susanna, Deshawn, Anastasia, Angie, Angela. Hang on, I don't have my participant list. Who else do we got on here? We got Angie, yes. I think Angie's the only one with their camera off right now. So when you've got all of those things together, right? Susanna, Deshawn, Anastasia, Angie, you guys all have at least some of your skills started to list out and everything else on your worksheet, hopefully, because what your next step that you're going to do is you're going to organize them. This is where the roadmap comes in, where you're walking somebody down a path, a structured system, an organized step-by-step thing, so that they know that there's steps that you're going to walk them through. You know that there's steps that they're going to walk them through, and the steps bring them the confidence to know that they can trust in your system or your procedures or your steps or your processes. So this is where you start organizing all of those things into some sort of a pattern. I'll share with you what that looked like for me when I first did my program asset mind map. I wrote it out I took this literally. I always say I'm going to find this, and I have it in my course programs. But I took my mind map and then I just did it with a black Sharpie so you can actually see it a little bit better. But really all I started was, okay, what somebody need to do. And this is the one for my book program. Okay. Cause it's just the one I already have done. If I was planning out a program, what would I do? I have to fly to a meeting one-on-one. I was not able to bump. Yeah, no problem, Susanna. I'll hit me up. I'll get you the recording for the rest of it. Okay. Yeah. You're welcome. And hopefully I'll see you on some of the other meetings. So you want to then start to organize. So you can see all the big brain dump of all of the stuff that I want to help somebody through with respect to the content that I wanted to create. And you'll see I had it as plan. What are all the planning things that somebody would need to do if they're writing their book, right? What are the steps they need to do to write it? How are they going to make money using their book, right? What things are they going to need to know to market, to do all the marketing for their book? And what are all the steps that they need to take in their publishing path? And then if any of you know my program, you'd know that they're now my 5 Ps. I tend to always do letters, but you can organize them into fun stuff later. But for right now, it's just getting them into categories that make sense, right? So this is my 5-step process. It became my 5-step process. It became plan, produce your book, right? Write it. It became profit for the money. It became promote for the marketing, and it became publish for the book. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a perfect 5P steps right now, but like think about the order that you'd walk somebody through to get from the crappy results they have right now to where they need to be, right? So just like what we're doing today, I know that I need to walk you through some steps to packaging up a program, being able to articulate it as an offer if you want to go out and get a client by next week. So I knew what the order of the things that I needed to share with you are to be able to help you get that result or that win that I'm looking to help you get. So it all starts, right, with that Stephen Covey quote, begin with the end in mind. What is it that you're wanting to get them to buy from you? And then back engineering all the steps. And it starts with this. It starts with packaging up this program so that all of the rest of the steps will fall into place. And then your action item for this section, and it might not be perfectly complete right now, but by the time we leave here today, you're going to have all of this. You'll know how to put these steps together, and it might take some finessing, right? But you want to be able to organize those modules into a path that your potential client would take. And I want you to have no more than 3 to 10 steps. So like Aparna, you're going to put yours into 3 sections you're going to describe, right? So it's health, wealth, relationships. Now you might have some other steps in each of those 3 steps, but when you're describing it and articulating it, I would highly suggest you articulate and focus on the 3 steps. It's really easy for your client to see that they're going to get help in 3 areas. And then you might even further down the line have 3 verticals, right? Where you help somebody that's only worried about their health at first, only worried about their wealth, and only is really, you know, looking for that relationship advice. You could technically have 3 verticals. Your general program would be the health, wealth, relationship, and your more laser targeted program might be one of those 3 verticals. So I'm not sure which one you're deciding to work on, but that would be an idea for you, right? Dr. Mel, your steps are likely going to mirror some of the steps you took to get out of and transition out of education and into helping another educator do the same thing, right? It'll model the steps that you help them take. Julie, I've never heard you talking about this brand new niche. So, but from what I know that you do with the CRM and the email work, right? All of the automation, the behind the scenes, I'd have to kind of hear what we're doing, and the 3 of us are going to get on a deeper one-on-one call with this to kind of really noodle it down. So I'll be interested to hear more if you or if you need some more help noodling on those ideas. But hopefully everybody has a bit of an idea, and you can keep working on it, right? But you want to have a beginning, a middle, and an end at least. And if not, maybe 5 steps, 10 steps. Think about how you're going to organize these people down a path. And the last spot in there for the roadmap section, what does my handout say on that section? Reduce, is the deliverables. So here in the deliverables section, it's kind of, this is how this kind of encompasses those 2 C's, right? This is where you talk about the coaching and the community. So what are the deliverables that you're going to use to help somebody get that result that they're looking for? So to fill in the focus, here is the area where you want to focus on the transformation, not the information. And in fact, for almost all of your program delivery and modules and pieces and components that are going to go in there, I want you to focus on transformation, not information, right? The deliverables are what help you do this, because would you agree there's not a lack of information in the world, right? You can go out and Google just about anything. I can Google how to fix the brakes on my car. I don't have a car, but if I did, I could Google how to fix the brakes on my car. Do I want to fix the brakes on my car? Oh, heck no. I'm going to an expert to help me do that, right? So you're going to package up your expertise so that somebody does not know. Hi, Angie. Nice to have you on camera. You want to package up your expertise so that you're solving somebody's problem or puzzle. And this is the place where you're going to be sharing with people, right? The idea that you've taken years to gather all of this information. You've gone to all of these programs. You've done all of these certifications and modalities. And what you're going to help somebody do in your 5 steps is shortcut the whole process. Because that's what people are looking for right now, right? Especially online. They're looking for the quick fix. You might know that it's not a quick fix. But what you're doing is you're packaging up a program that somebody wants to buy. So one of my coaches once, you can write this down. I love this one. You want to sell them what they want. And then give them what they need. That's the secret sauce to marketing right there. If you just take that one piece away from this whole training, you want to give them what they need. You want to sell them what they need, and what they want and what they need are not always the same two things. So if you focus on selling them what they want and then giving them what they need once they're inside of your community, inside of your coaching, once they say yes, then you've got their attention, right? Because they've invested. They've made that commitment. They've taken a stand for themselves. Now you can get real with them. So this is I find this is the biggest challenge when people are talking about kind of more higher level topics like yours, Aparna, like abundance and mindset. People don't know necessarily that they need a mindset shift. They know they need some more damn clients. Right? So focus on what they want and what they more than what they need on the inside to make the transformation happen. Right? So when you focus on that, then everything changes. So here's how to get people transformational results when it comes to deliverables. You want to include usually some sort of hybrid where they get access to you. Right? So even if you're deciding to go straight for the group program, right? You want to make sure that they've got some group calls for sure would be something you're going to tick off in that category, in that section. You might want to include some one-on-one coaching sessions. And it doesn't have to be one-on-one every single month. But for example, you might want to include a one-on-one onboarding call or deep dive strategy session or jumpstart call, for example. Right? Where they get a nice, good, juicy one-on-one with you to begin the program, and then they ease into the weekly group programs, right? Maybe you want to include one-on-ones as an upgrade or an additional package. They can buy more. Or maybe you want to include one smaller, shorter, like say 15 or 30-minute check-in call a month. The idea here is especially if you're running a group program, as your group program scales, you're going to have to spend more time if you offer one-on-one. So just keep that in mind for the people looking at putting in a group program. Are you going to include healing sessions or access to you either by email or messenger? I know lots of people are using Slack and Voxer and all sorts of types of messaging tools. So how are they being able to access you? And keep that in mind as you're just starting out versus if you're larger. Right now, anybody that works for me, I basically tell them you've got 100% access to me. Most people don't take advantage of that, right? They're reaching out when they've got serious problems. I keep my doors wide open. I let them get 100% access to me. I know one of my business coaches who has over 200 people in her program. She could never offer that anymore. She's too big, right? But right now, as I'm not that big yet, I can still do that. And as you grow and expand, you might bring other coaches into your orbit underneath you that could help keep some of this direct communication inside of your community, right? Are you going to include personal assessments, initiation ceremonies, exclusive monthly expert interviews, video trainings, workbooks, handouts? This is where you want to then put all of your deliverables in and pick some of the things that you want to include. And the last thing that's not in there, I don't even know why it's not on my list. I'll have to add it. I think I can add it right now. Here we go. Community. Look at that. I can make updates as I go. There we go. You want to create a community, a place where your paying clients can gather. I'm currently in the process right now of moving from Facebook, where I have all of my private client communities. I have Facebook groups for my Marketing Mastery Academy. I've got a Write and Grow Rich private Facebook group. And I don't know how many of you have private groups on Facebook. But what I'm noticing is that even my private groups are not getting all of my notifications. So I'll go out to my private community and make a post, and I'll get like 8 post reach. I'm like, what? Like, this is my community. Why are you not letting me talk to my paying clients? So I have made the decision, and I'm in the process right now of building out and moving my communities to a platform called School. It's a bit more than what we have time to talk about in this container. But if anybody's interested in learning more about that, I'm happy to chat about it. And maybe I might even do a little bit of another training on it at some point. But you do need a place for your people to gather. Communities where they get to network, they get to collaborate, they get to get into two-way communication with each other. And as I mentioned before, people will come for the curriculum and they'll stay for the coaching and for the community. If you have those 3 C's in place, you're setting yourself up for a winning program that will help you make more money and keep your clients coming back for more. So that's the roadmap section. We are at the top of the hour. So I did say this was going to be an hour training. I didn't realize I had so many things I wanted to go through. Next time I'll make it a little bit of a longer training. So if anybody has to hop off, I completely understand, and I'll make sure you get the recording. Otherwise, I know that Julie and Aparna and Mel, you guys had 2 hours blocked into yours. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll keep going with the general information, and then we'll still get, if we end up running out of time today to do our one-on-one session, we'll definitely get it into the calendar, and we'll do it like within days. We won't wait another week, so that I can get you guys those resources that I promised you. In the meantime, I can go until 4. Perfect. Awesome. So let's get to this next. And then of course, after we finish going through all of this, I'll pause and we'll get any kind of questions answered. So that you have time to ask any questions that I haven't gone through, or that you have some extra questions off. Deshaun, yes, absolutely. I'll get you the recording. And it was lovely to see you. I'm glad you were able to pop on. So let's get back to, where the heck is that other, not minimize. Let's do this. Okay. So let's talk about, pricing. This is one where, money is, a lot of, it can sometimes be a challenge for people. How many of you kind of feel like you don't really necessarily feel great about sales? Like it kind of feels a little bit weird, a little bit icky, kind of like gives you the, and I really truly honestly believe that's because of a lot of the things that we've been programmed with here, and especially North American culture. I grew up in a household where it was rude to talk about money, right? You didn't ask anybody how much they made or what their salary is. Heaven forbid, that was like ultra crazy rude, right? But how else are you supposed to learn about money and what kind of careers you could have without talking about that such important topic? And it wasn't until I kind of was taught to flip the idea about sales. Angie, it's like you were reading my mind, sister. It is. It's all about, if you can, instead of using language about selling to somebody and prospecting and closing and all of that stuff, if you can actually just turn it into the language of service, right? Where instead of selling, you're serving somebody, right? You're going out and helping somebody solve a problem that they have. You're leading with value. Then the idea of making an offer or closing a sale is really about asking somebody or inviting them to join you on a journey. It's inviting them to actually say yes to themselves, not to you. They're saying yes to themselves, to their transformation, to getting the results that they're looking for through you and through this container that we're creating here today. And that was a huge, big shift in my ability to go out and offer help to people, because I know that what I have to offer is powerful and it's going to change their life. And it makes offering it easier, because I'm assuming that you got into business right? Because you wanted to help some people. Yeah, we want to make money, but you're also genuinely want to help other people get results too, right? And if you can look at and focus on how it's in service to them, the value that you're going to offer to them, the results you're going to help them get, the problems you're going to help them overcome, then sales becomes a lot easier because it is about service, not about sales. So thank you, Angie, for dropping that right in perfect timing. It's a huge, big shift when somebody realizes that they're not investing in you, they're investing in themselves. When you can come from that place and people know that you're coming from that place, it also shifts that sales energy into a softer energy that just, you come from a different place where you're like, hey, you know, I really want to help you. And if you think it's a good fit for you, if you think the program is a good fit for you, and if you think me as a mentor is a good fit for you, then, you know, the answer is either yes, or how do we figure out how we can make it a yes? Because of course there are some genuine objections that might come up, like, I can't afford it, right? I don't have the money. And what I've come to realize is that people who want something will get resourceful, right? It's never really truly a lack of resources. It ends up being a lack of resourcefulness. So when I want something, I get bloody resourceful and I figure out how to make it happen. I know Aparna does that too, doesn't she? So if you want to figure it out, and then encourage people to do the same, right? I invest in coaching all the time. I seek mentorship whenever I can. I dump almost as much money out of my business as I bring into my business, but not on doodads and things. I invested in business tools. I invested in mentorship all the time because I want to accelerate my results. And I know the fastest way to accelerate your results is go and find somebody who's already figured out the puzzle. They have the picture of the puzzle and they have all the pieces and they're going to hand it to you to get your results faster, right? It's the fastest and most effective way to get on the other side of your problems is to hire and seek out mentorship. So when you can position yourself as the mentor, as the guide that's going to help them through that journey, then talking about pricing becomes irrelevant, right? It's you stack the value, you show them how you're going to get on the other side of a result, and you tell them what the exchange is. It's a value exchange, right? So there are two strategies for pricing that I share with people, that all of the coaches that I've been working with are sharing. Almost everybody's doing it right now. And the first is using a what I call a 3-bucket option. So this would be using a pricing model, for the lack of a better term, that has a gold, a silver, and a bronze type of investment level, right? So in the bronze package, you're going to get, and once you have an online program, I could see how this would be a really great model to follow, because I'm going to actually suggest that you use model number 2, but let's go over model number 1 in case anybody wants to use it. Because I did used to use this as well. Bronze is like, okay, you're going to get the online coaching program and that's all you're going to get. And here's the price, $9.97, right? And the silver model is you're going to get the coaching program and you're going to get this, this, and this. And the big old juicy gold level program is you get all of the things, everything in the kitchen sink. You'll see this a lot online in software programs, right? They have, here's your first program level where you get this, this, and this, and only this many subscribers, and you have this stuff. And then you run out of that space and you have to upgrade to the next one. And then you have to upgrade to the next one as you grow, which is great for people who need to grow into something. And then, of course, understanding that most people will pick the middle option, right? The lower or the middle option. And you'll have 1 or 2 people that may take you up on your big old juicy high ticket offer one. So it's kind of a fun one if somebody ever takes you up on the big juicy one, right? To keep it simple, what I usually suggest somebody does is have only 2 options. So they have a choice, right? Option number 1. So this is the second model. And this is having, instead of a 3-bucket, you have a 2 option only model in number 2. And that's you offer somebody the option to make payments or to pay in full. So they get the whole kit and caboodle They get all your best stuff, all your transformational work, all of your assets, your workbooks, your everything. They get the platinum, the big gold juicy program, but they only have two options. They can either pay for it in installments or they can pay for it in full. And beyond the level of today's training, you would add some bonuses, right? Some urgency bonuses, like a pay in full discount, buy now discount or bonus. You might have some limiters and things like that. Again, we can go into the nuances of that in another training, but for the simplistic purpose of picking a program price, that's the two models. So I'm going to suggest you pick model number 2, which is have two options only. It's hard. A confused mind says no. So the big model sometimes is a bit harder to put together when you're just starting out as well. So having only two options for somebody to make makes it really simple and easy. So what does your program pricing look for you, right? And I gave an example there on that sheet on how you could maybe choose an investment level. A lot of times people will choose an investment level based on how much money they need to make to be able to live, right? So I've used the example, if you want to be earning $5,000 a month in that example, you'd need 10 clients at $500 a month, right? To be able to make $5,000 a month. If $500, asking for $500 a month from somebody feels easy to you, then make it $250 a month, but then you need 20 clients, right? So you're going to adjust your program pricing based on how many clients that you want to serve. And of course, if you're picking a one-on-one model, this could be limited by how many clients you think you can serve in a monthly adventure, if you will, right? So if you're doing one-on-one coaching and you have 10 clients, then you at least need to meet with 10 people a month to do the actual coaching work, which of course you have to make sure you're still marketing and building and, going to networking events and doing all the other things that you do to run your business. So this is a little bit of a personal decision on how you want to price this out. My suggestion is to not go under $200 a month, especially in a one-on-one or a group coaching program, right? If you're wanting to help people get those transformational results and you're wanting to make money, because you're not serving anyone if you can't make enough money to support yourself and your life and your lifestyle, right? And you're burning out. So it's that analogy of putting on your oxygen mask first, right? You've got to get yourself set up to be earning enough income so that you're also not scared to go out and promote and ask for money. Because all I know is when I was in those feast and famine cycles, when I was struggling to find clients and make money, it was almost like it was this self-fulfilling prophecy. I'd just have less and less clients. And like I'd feel anxiety to go out and talk to anybody. I felt icky and all of the stuff would come up, right? So you want to make sure that you have a pricing model that you feel actually comfortable, like saying out of your mouth. And a hot tip, you should practice actually saying that literally out loud multiple times before ever getting on your first call with client. Because if you're going to stumble through the offer, this will be the spot where you stumble the hardest and the fastest, is the minute that the money conversation comes up. It's just 90% of people do it, right? You want to practice. When they say, how much is the investment, right? You want to be able to say it's $997 a month. Or if you invest in full today, it's $10,000 for my 1-year transformational program to help you, blah, 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 blah. Right? We're going to get into the languaging of how to talk the offer through in a moment. So in a 5,000, right? In a year-long program where you're charging $500 a month, that's $6,000, right? A year. Or so maybe your pay in full discount is $5,000, right? So you can see how that model works. You want your payment plans to your payment plan pricing to always be a little bit more than your pay in full option. So you give people that don't have a huge big bank account the opportunity to work with you at a lower rate, but you're at that point kind of like becoming the bank, right? If they don't have $5,000 to pay in full, you'll finance it for them. And for doing that, you're going to charge a little bit, just like a credit card would charge them, right? To finance it. So in the case where you're offering payment plans, you are the bank, you're the financer. You're allowing them to make payments. So your payments should be a little bit more than your pay in full option. Because that's another thing I've watched people do. They'll divide their full price into the amount of payments, but then you're the one financing for them, right? So it also helps you get that little, for the people who like to save money. Some people that say, oh no, I don't have the money. Well, all of a sudden find the money when they want to get that savings, right? It's kind of powerful when somebody wants to save $1,000, where they'll find that $5,000 that you asked them for, that at first they didn't have the money for, right? They'll go and find it. They'll pull it from somewhere because they don't want to pay the extra $1,000. So be confident that when people want something, if you've packaged it appropriately, if you've clearly articulated the value and you know you can help somebody get transformational results, people that want to work with you will find the money. And it might not happen right away, right? You might get on calls with people and they don't want to work with you, and they might say, oh, this is a great fit, and but I don't have the money, and maybe they just don't think it's a great fit. I personally know I've gone to coaching calls, like discovery calls with other coaches, and it's sometimes taken me 2 or 3 months to go, okay, I'm going to work with this person. I'm going to pull the trigger and do it. Maybe it just wasn't a good fit at the time. So also don't be discouraged with no's. Sometimes no's are just not right now, right? It's not something to take personal. It just might not be a good fit. And don't be afraid to ask some sensitive or hard questions, right? Because not everybody will disclose to you if they're having financial struggles. They'll make up some other excuse about why they can't do it. And maybe there is a way that you can help. I know in the past, I've taken my book coaching payment plan and doubled it for somebody that I felt would be a good student, right? You're the boss. So you can actually do anything you want to do if it feels good for you, right? If you're a $500 a month payment plan over a 3-month program, and that's $1,500 with $1,000 pay in full, and they're like, I just still can't afford, the $500 a month, you could say, well, if you feel if you feel it, you could stretch it over 6 payments, right? Like you can always make exceptions to your pricing program, but you have to know where those lines are, where you're going to draw those lines. I typically like to keep my payment options within the container of the program, because you can imagine once the program ends, their desire to pay you significantly reduces. So you might want to make sure, if you are doing a payment option, that it stays within the container of your program, right? And how long you're going to be delivering your program. So if you have your pricing model picked out, if you know what you're going to be charging, I'd love to see it. I'd love for you to drop that in the chat and let me know what you're just feeling right now, and knowing that this could be your your PFN, your price for now. Doesn't mean you can't change it. I'm changing mine all the time. Sometimes the market requires that you change it, right? Sometimes I'm reducing or expanding the container that's happening with my program. So for example, my book program used to be a 3-month container, but now that AI is in the picture and there's other tools, I've been able to collapse my program into a shorter period of time. It's now 2 months, and I dropped my pricing because of that, even though I'm getting them the same result. So, I may change my mind and put it back up. But in the meantime, it felt good for me. It felt in alignment for me. because it felt like I could give accessibility to that to more people. So you're going to want to feel into your pricing too, right? And know that you can adjust it at any point in time, which would be why I would also highly recommend, if you have a website or you're planning on, I don't ever have my pricing anywhere online or on my website, on my socials. I don't provide those things in writing, like in an email. Usually I don't do proposals, if you will, because my content is always changing. My bonuses change. My time frames change, my model changes. And I don't want somebody going, hey, well, you know, this is what it was, and can I have it now for, you know, $1,000 like you were doing it 3 years ago? Doesn't mean I never confirm something in writing with somebody. It just means I'm not in the business of giving out proposals. So let's see what we've got in here. Okay. So Angie's gonna go with the 2-bucket option, just not sure at the price point. Maybe I need the mind map or the other parts. Yeah, you might want to go and do kind of some of that stuff. Aparna is going $647 for a 5-week program. Okay, I like that. And you've got a 5-week program, and that's awesome. And we didn't talk about timing of programs, but we can do that in another one as well. Let's continue getting through this. So yeah, I'd encourage you to pick a price. And if it's as simple as, you know, a full price, are you going to have a payment option? Aparna, would be the question I want to know for those $647. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm planning to. Maybe 2 or 3 payment plans, but I don't know how to divide how to charge the extra money. How much to charge for extra if I go for the payment plan.
Perfect. And we can talk about that in the private session. We'll help you land and nail your pricing for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is there like a percentage that you mark it up if you're taking a payment plan?
Yeah,
Or
it's it's a great question. And I don't have a hard and fast rule for it. I literally feel into it. I know a lot of the spiritual healers are doing like 333 and 444 and 555 for their pricing because they're aligning it with numerology and everything else. It feels right for them, right? I typically I'm pricing at either $500 or $1,000 a month on almost all of my programming. And so then I just knock off, like if I'm doing a year long, I knock off 2 months. It's kind of what I've been doing as a rule of thumb. Seems fairly common. And again, just because it's common doesn't mean you have to adopt it. You're going to do what feels right for you, what you can feel into. But if you're doing, for example, a $500 a month program and you're hosting a group call once a week, like I would not go under $500 if I'm giving weekly support to that community. Right? If you think about that, that's like $100 an hour for expertise. That's pretty on point. Like if you were to I'm not telling you to, this is all not about trading time for money, but if you actually think about that, right? Yes, once you have 2 or 3 or 4, it's way more than $100 an hour at that point. But I always kind of base it on my experience on what would it be if all I had was one client, right? It's got to still be comfortable for you, that you don't feel like resentful that you're wasting your time. Because what happens if you feel resentful and you're wasting your time? It's not going to feel good. You're not going to have a business that you feel good doing. Right? So you definitely want to be charging something that feels good to you too, that feels in alignment with how you're going to be positioned and valued for your own income and your own safety, as well as it feels good for your clients. So in my mind, I would never go under $500 a month, unless I was severely backing my time out of it. So I'm actually looking right now, full transparency, into offering a membership program. So I'm going to have my year-long program at $500 a month, which I already have. It already exists. Right. Mel and Aparna, you're already in right now in that container that starts in January. Well, the three full months that you get with the program that you bought, but that's my $500 a year academy, right? But not everybody are there yet. So I'm in another community where they have a downsell into a membership program. So if anybody who can't afford the academy right now, or it isn't the right timing for the academy right now, or it's just not, they don't, it's just not the good fit for the academy right now. My coach has an option where they can be in a $97 community, but he only comes there once a month to teach and train that community. So your free community, your membership community, your academy community can all be this similar curriculum. What changes is their access to you as the expert. That's the biggest difference. People freak out like, oh, how am I supposed to get the academy and the membership and the online coaching program? It's the same program. It's the exact same. What they're paying for is access to you, because with access to you, they get transformation. How many of you have an online program sitting in the dust in your computer somewhere that you've bought and then never cracked open and used? I'm in the process of putting mine all together. It's embarrassing how many programs I've bought and I've never opened them because I get into the hype. I'm a marketer, right? So I'm telling you right now, I buy everything. I'm a buyer. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to help me do that. And I get into the marketing speak and I'm like, I'm in. I'm like, I'm in. I flop my credit card down, off you go. And I'm just like buried in my inbox. I don't even freaking remember that I bought it. It's embarrassing. And I know that the ones that I pay more money for, I attend, because there's something else with pricing that's really important. And I want you to write this down. It's so important. People that pay attention. You sell a $97 a month program, people aren't showing up. They're squawking that it doesn't work. It's like, it's more trouble than it's worth. People that pay attention. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth, because they will show up. And then you know what they're going to do? They're going to get results. And the best way to get new clients is when you have people that get results and they talk about you. And you have social proof that your curriculum works to get people results. Then it's like, it doesn't stop after that. Your pricing model is really important. Do not underprice yourself. If it's something, one of the only things you take out of this training, do not underprice yourself. Your clients will not show up. They won't perceive it as valuable, and they won't do the work and get the results that they want and said they wanted to get. Right? So super important. Anastasia, thank you for patiently waiting. I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a couple of things to add to what you were just talking about. And while you were talking about charging what you're worth, I was reminded of a quote by Casey Brown. I don't even remember who she is, but I still remember this quote from like 4 years ago. It was a TED talk. It's like 15-minute talk. And the quote is, people will never pay you what you're worth. They will only pay you what they think you're worth. And you control their thinking. It's amazing. It's an amazing quote. And then what I was going to say too about pricing is you should approach it from, like, you need to crunch those numbers and figure out exactly what it's going to cost you, like your energy, your time, your resources, your expenses. You need to crunch those numbers so that you know what your bottom line is, what your absolute minimum amount that you need to charge is. Again, so that you're not resentful of it, so that you're making a profit, you're not resentful of it, and that you're happy to deliver and over deliver with your value.
Mm-hmm.
And then add some more profit.
Yeah. And the more results you end up getting, right? The more social proof you have, you can start raising your rates, right? Or maybe you don't, right? When you just bring on more people, you expand your group. So there's so many ways. There is not one right or wrong way to do this. I'm just sharing with you my best experience with it.
Make sure you're not paying them. Make sure you're covering all your expenses and your time and all of that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Anastasia. That was great to have. A great add-on for sure. So Angie's like, is weekly support including one-on-one sessions, maybe twice a month, and are being available in the off weeks? Or is that meeting with them in a group setting once a week? So if you're working on the group coaching model, how I am doing my group coaching model is I only meet with my clients the first 3 weeks of every month. I used to do weekly, and then I realized I could never take a break. I can never go on my own holiday. I can never do anything. So how I structure my group programs right now is I typically have 3 calls. I have a weekly training call the first week of the month where we set up the training of what we're going to be working on that month. Call number 2 is what I call a creation call. So we've learned the strategy in week 1. They leave with some homework. In week 2, we come together and create all the assets that need to happen to deploy that marketing strategy into their business and get it working and running. And in week 3 is the implementation call. So that is literally when we tidy up, cross the T's, dot the I's, and deploy. One of the things I was finding in a lot of my communities, I was in a community that was doing the 3-call model. But in week 1, they'd do the training. In week 2, they'd have a Q&A call, which the group was too big. So everybody would come with different questions about where they're at in their training, as opposed to the coach keeping the context of your questions this month need to be about this topic. And I get that people have questions and they're at different stages, but and the questions were great. I would learn in those Q&A calls. Don't get me wrong. There was lots of learning to go on, but then what happened is I wasn't continuing to advance the strategy we learned in the first week, because I was like, oh, that's a great idea. And now all of a sudden I had 10 other ideas just from the Q&A call. And what was happening to me? Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. I was done. It was bright, shiny object syndrome all over the place for me. And then in the 3rd week, she had what was called an acceleration call, where she'd teach another strategy. I was like, I would leave every month with not one thing completed. And it felt defeating. And I realized there possibly might have been a method to that madness. I'm not sure. But I realized, because after 3 years in that community, I finally said, I need to go. I have enough resources to learn and do it, but I am not getting anywhere, because every call I'm hearing something new and distracting myself from staying focused on the task at hand. So my community is a little bit different. My year-long container is one where I've adopted this model. We need to slow down to speed up. So it's all about one strategy, laser focus, get it done, get it created, get it deployed, and not until you do that do you move on to the next thing. And that way people get results. They can go, oh my gosh, I was able to get that thing done that I've been trying to get done for months and weeks and years. I was 3 years in that community and got more done when I found a community that was more laser focused on do this next. Well, what about this? Don't do that. You haven't done step 2 yet. Why are you at step 8? They wrangle us back in and they focus us in on the next step. This is why the roadmap works. When you have a roadmap, you can lead somebody down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? You're talking about 8? You rope them back in and get them. You bring back up the roadmap and you go, hey, we're doing a roadmap. It's on purpose, right? It's going to get you the result the fastest. Don't get distracted. Laser in. Put on your blinders. Let's go. Focus. Right? The roadmap helps you do this and position this container for your clients, for the ones that get squirreled. And I'm one of the squirrels. So I know this because I've lived this in other communities. So I'm just filling the gaps where I saw them in the communities I belong to, and I'm bringing them back to my communities. And you're going to do the same thing for you, right? You're going to feel into a container that feels right for you and how you like to work. And it's okay if you like to work a little bit differently from me, because however you're going to work within your community, you're going to attract those people that resonate with your methodology, right? So remember, I shared with you, I told you to write that down, focus on transformation, not information. Part of program design is dumping all the ideas that you have out, and then like your kind of last step is to remove. If the steps that you've put into your program are not going to get them to the result faster, they need to be taken out, because they become information overload, and it stops your students in their tracks. It gets them stuck in overwhelm, and it has them quit and then say, oh, the program didn't work. You don't want that to happen. You'd be better off to have, you know, your program broken down into smaller programs, if you will, than to have them get stuck in overwhelm or not have a way that you can rope them in on, this is the next step. And where each step creates a little bit of a win, right? Each step has an action step. You'll see I even did it in this training, right? Okay, so write down the program type you're going to create today. Pick your client. If you have 5 clients you can work with, pick one now, right? You're going to want to move people into wins so they can go, oh yeah, I got a lot done today. I'm excited about that. And you can do all of that with your students as well. Okay, where are we at? I think we're almost done. We were at pricing. Why can't I reduce this darn thing? Yes. Okay. So the pricing strategy, pricing model, pick a model. Again, you know, if you're doing a longer container, you know, $200 to $500 a month is a great start. 500 feels like a big stretch for you. Start at a lower amount, a monthly amount. One that you can get comfortable saying, and then when you've got some social proof that says, hey, my client achieved this result, my client achieved this result, my client achieved this result, right? Then it's powerful. You've got some testimonies that you can go out and go, look, I've helped this person do this. It helps you defend and put return on investment to your pricing strategy, right? So when I offer a program at $2,000, if I help them so Alana, my $3,000 a month program design client, I sold her a $2,000 program and then helped her create $6,000 in less than 2 weeks. Did she get ROI? Hell yeah. Is she one of my biggest promoters and supporters? Heck, she is. Why? Because I helped her get results. The people you help get results become your biggest cheerleaders, your biggest fans, and your biggest supporters, right? They become referrals for you and your business. And they become evidence that you can help somebody else get the result too. So I can share with you my story when I, you know, in 3 days got my first book coaching client. I did this model. I wrote out all my modules. They became my 5 Ps, right, for my program. I went to a meeting with this guy. I was like, hey, this is the results it's going to help you get, right? More authority, expert positioning, get speaking engagements, new clients, blah, blah, blah. You're going to stop chasing, start attracting. I did exactly this with him. Met him on a Tuesday, told him I help people write a book. Didn't have the book program yet. I was still a financial advisor. He was the only person in the meeting I didn't know. So when he said, what do you do? I said, well, he'll only know what I do is based on what I tell him what I do. Everybody else knew I was a financial advisor. He didn't know what the heck I did. So I said, I'm a financial advisor, but, you know, after writing and publishing my first book, I also help people write and publish a book they can use as a marketing tool to grow their business. He's like, oh my God, my business coach has been telling me for months I should write a book. I'm like, well, let's go talk about it. That was a Tuesday. I had the meeting with him on Thursday. On Wednesday, I did this process I'm walking you through right now. Went to the meeting on Thursday and he said, I'm in, sign me up. Thank God I had a Square reader in my purse. You know, remember Square readers? I don't even know if they exist anymore because I had a bunch of books with me, right? I had where's my book? I had all these books. So if people wanted to buy a book, I always had my Square reader in case they wanted to. I usually just gave them away, to be honest, because the Square reader thing was just more annoying than the $10 I was going to make. So, but I had one in my purse and I hadn't even thought of my pricing module. The only thing I hadn't done was hadn't done a pricing strategy myself yet, but I had everything I was going to give, how I was going to deliver it. Back then I hadn't, right? People that get hung up on websites and like, I need a CRM. I need the, sorry, Julie, I need all this. You know what you don't need? You don't need any of that. You need a Zoom line and an email address. My first rendition of my program, I delivered every single lesson to this dude in an email. One lesson at a time. Like all these lessons I'm giving you, I would be like, here's how to pick your client. Blah, 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 blah. Action item. Tell me who your perfect client is. And I would tell him, when you give me the homework, I'll deliver you your next lesson. I was literally one lesson ahead of this dude the entire time. And on the Thursday, I charged $1,000 to my Square reader and I was off to the races. So I'm doing nothing that I didn't already do myself. And I do it every time I create a program now. I never create a program first. I create the outline for the program. I create the roadmap for the program. I create the benefits and results of the program. I create the language for the problem that this program solves for people. And then I go and prove that I can sell it and that people want it before I ever build a damn lesson. Sell it, then build it, right? What comes first, sales or marketing? Most people say marketing. I say sales. Because your sale proves that you've got what it takes. You don't have to have all the modules created. You have to understand how to articulate what you're going to help them with. But you don't need every single module done. Just do it as you go. Build the plane as you fly it. Get paid first. And then flesh it all out with live humans who are going to give you your testimonials and tell you how amazing you are. And help you promote it for you, right?
Question on that for the testimonials, like what are your thoughts on like a beta program? Like if you're charging less for the first time you run it?
Great idea. And it's fabulous. It helps you give some clients a bit of a discount. It creates urgency that they want to buy it now because they know the price is going to go up. It helps you flesh out your program. It's a win-win-win-win-win all around.
Okay.
100%. I mean, my first group program was technically my beta for running it as a group, right? I already knew that I was getting results for people privately, but I never knew, could I do it in a group format? So my group was a beta. I cut my pricing in half. By the time I ran my next group, I'd pop my pricing right back up to what I was charging for individual coaching. And Anastasia, yes, you need to know that people actually want what you want to create. That's why you go and sell it first, sweetheart. You sell it first because if they buy it, it means they want it. So then you create it after they buy it. It's as simple and as complicated as that. But you could go out and test 5 different offers, right? But you don't have to build anything. All you're building is the framework. You're going to tell people, hey, I'm going to run you through this. In month 1, we're going to do this. In month 2, we're going to do this. In month 3, we're going to do this, so that you get this, and this, all those results that we talked about in step 1. That's why I had you do step 1 first. Because what they're struggling with and what they want to get out of this is exactly the language that you're going to then use in the offer. So let's talk about that right now, because this is kind of the most important part. We're going to skip over 4 right now, because 4 is all about finding clients, and I can run through that quickly, but as we're approaching 10 minutes to the top of the hour, I really want to talk about how to pull this all together, right? Sorry, we're going to skip 4 and 5. We're going to go right to, 5 is presenting the offer, right? Sorry, I just made up that P. Your P is how to present this thing, right? Yeah, no problem, Anastasia. I'll grab you the recording. So 5, which is how to present this all. Now, how do you tie this all up and wrap it in a bow, right? And so I'll quickly just tell you what the 3 conversion events are, just so you can fill in the blanks and you're not left hanging. 1 is an enrollment conversation, a discovery call, right? A strategy session, a coaching call. By any other name, it's a one-on-one sales call. That's your conversion event, number 1. So when I say conversion event, I mean, it's something you're going to bring a prospect to convert them into a client. That's what it means by conversion event, right? So this, in its simplest form, it's hey, I've got this program that I think that could help you get this and result. Because I understand you're struggling with this, and this. Would you like to get on a call and chat about it? I've got some ideas that I might want to share with you. And then when they say yes, you're getting them on that discovery session where you're going through an enrollment conversation. You're digging a little bit deeper into what their actual problems are that they tell you. Because right now you've got the list of things you've heard in the past, but you don't know what their specific problem is. So you're going to uncover their very specific problem, challenge, or thing that they're saying is bugging them. You're going to ask them what their actual results in their language is that they want to use, right? And then when you have their language, you're going to say, hey, well, I've got this program, right? Here's what it looks like. Would you like to hear more about it? When they say yes, you're delivering them. We're going to do, it's 5 modules. It's going to take 5 weeks. It's 3 months. It's 6 months. And it's a transformational program to help you overcome, use what they actually told you. You know, if you're struggling to find clients, right? You don't know where to find them. You don't know how to package a program. You're not sure what the pricing needs to be, then, right? Come to this training or this program where I'm going to help you get on the other side of that. I've got a 5-step process to help you plan, right? Price, package, promote, and present a profitable program to someone to help you. And when you come to this training and at the end of it, you should be able to get clients within, you know, the next week using this strategy. It's like a mini offer, right? Because this offer framework works for whether you're asking somebody to come to a strategy call, a workshop, a webinar, a program. And it's the same structure for asking somebody to come to a free thing as it is to come to a paid thing. The only difference is when it's coming to a paid thing, you're going to drop a price at the end, right? Which leads me to number 2. The second conversion type event is a webinar, a master class, a workshop, something like this, right? Where you're going to gather people together. You're going to do a little bit of teaching, a little bit of training. And you might have an offer for them at the end. Maybe the offer is to hop on a call and see what it would look like to work with you more closely. Right? It's how most of us have gotten on this call today. So I'm like, hey, would you like to come and take another step? I've got a training for you. Right? And then the number 3, the most advanced conversion event would be more like a multi-day event or a challenge. So this would be like the Facebook challenge, like a 5-day Facebook challenge or a 3-day Facebook challenge. So it's definitely a more advanced conversion model, but it's the leveraged one, right? It's the one-to-many. So if you're still kind of not like struggling with and like a traditional one-on-one enrollment conversation, then you know, your conversion events in the multi-sphere would probably be the last strategy you're going to use. So you'll use those strategies in the order that they are. Start with the one-on-one calls. Just get heart to heart with somebody and say, what are you struggling with? Right? How can I help? If I had something that could help you, would you be interested in hearing more about it? And then you come from that place of service, right? Here's what I have. And I'd love to help you get on the other side of this problem so you can have some more clients over Christmas, make some money, right? So that's what you're doing so you got the discovery call is your one-on-one. You've got your webinar, which is one-to-many. Workshop or masterclass is number 2. And you've got your challenge, right? Or a multi-day event, that's one-to-many. So I'd like to see in the chat, what kind of conversion event are you going to be doing over the next, in the next week? I would suggest that it's number 1. But anybody have any plans for either number 2, if you plan on doing a webinar or a masterclass or a workshop? You can pop that in the chat for me. And is there anybody who's actually thinking about doing a challenge or a multi-day event? Pop a 3 if that's you. Otherwise, please pick which conversion event that you're going to focus on over the next 3 weeks. Love to know. Webinar. So Dr. Mill is going to do webinars and masterclasses. Awesome. Julie's going to focus on the one-on-one. 8 people. Oh my God, Julie, 8 people. Okay, girl, you are
You
getting.
told me to make a list, so I made
I
a list.
know. Yes, you are good, girl. Make a list. Check it twice. Who else has a list? Dr. Mel, Aparna, did you make your list? Yeah. That's so awesome. I love it. Yeah, I'd get those people on the calendar next week. Just book them all for next week. And we'll dial this in so you can get on a conversation and be able to powerfully deliver this. Dr. Mel, Aparna, same thing. I would make your short list of people that you want to be able to talk to. So let's put it all together. Offer creation. The 3 components to a really powerful offer are: number 1 is to be able to, in your offer that you are talking to people about, is to be able to amplify the problem. This is where, in marketing, the twin forces of marketing, I talk about it in my book coaching program, I talk about it in my academy, but the twin forces of marketing are truly the pain and pleasure. People either buy your program, your mentorship, your coaching to move away from pain or move towards something that they want. Which one do you think is more powerful? Drop that in the chat right now. Avoiding pain or moving towards pleasure from the pain and pleasure principles. Who thinks it's pain? Dr. Mel, Aparna, Julie, yeah. Pain is the number 1 thing people, why people buy programs. They want a problem solved. They will pay more and do more to avoid pain than they will to get to go towards pleasure. So you need to, but some people are very pleasure motivated. So you need to have both of these in your languaging that you're going to use to be able to hit, because you don't necessarily know who you're talking to. So you want to have both of them in your offer. So you're hitting both of those sides of the marketing twin forces. Okay. So you want to amplify the problem. You want to talk about, like, what's this costing you? Right? What's the cost of inaction? That's a huge one that you can present when you're talking about offer creation. Right? If you can show somebody the cost of inaction, it's powerful. The cost of inaction can also manifest itself not just in an ROI or a money number, but it can be like, you know, loss of sleep, anxiety, health challenges and benefits, bad relationship. Like, what is it costing you to constantly be fighting with your spouse if you're a relationship coach, right? With your health, what does it cost you to not be able to play with your kids or roll around on the ground with your grandchildren? So think about how you can also talk about pain, not just in the monetary way. Although if you are in a industry where you can't relate to ROI, you might want to try to relate ROI back to health problems, right? Like, so what's it going to cost you if you couldn't go to work, right? Losing your paycheck. So money is a big motivator for a lot of people. It's a big pain point. So if you can equate something that they're not doing back to money and the pain of the money, it's often a good motivator on the pain side. Number 2 is you want to be able to focus on those benefits and results. We already talked about that. The more you can do it in their exact language, the better. So if you're on one-on-one discovery calls, you want to ask them what their pain is, ask them what their desired result is, and actually speak it back in their language. Pay close attention. Because if you can talk in their language, I've literally had customers go, "Oh my God, it's like you're in my head." All right. It's like, and I'm not in their head. I just listened really well and I used their language back to them. But it makes people feel heard. It makes people feel seen. It makes people feel understood. There's an Oprah quote there. I can't remember what it is, but right. They won't remember how you make them, or no, that's some Maya Angelou. They won't remember what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. I think there's an Oprah quote there too. So you want to be able to relate to their pain. You want to be relate to their results. You want to use their language, big, powerful thing. And number 3 is you want to use better language. And I've got some examples for you there on that sheet, right? There's some benefit words. And when I'm talking about better language, more powerful language could be another way you could use that for number 3. And that's things like understanding that everybody has different learning styles. In NLP, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I've got NLP certification as well. And I did those certifications to be able to more powerfully help my clients. I don't really lead with them, but I also did them to have more powerful communication in my marketing languaging. And so if you're familiar with NLP at all, they talk about languaging to hit different learning styles. And that's, we're either visual learners, right? We're auditory, or we're kinesthetic, right? Touch or emotions or feelings. So if you can, especially if you're doing group programming, you'll hear, I've done this a lot of times. I even just said that you'll hear me talking a different way, right? I talk about, can you feel how that would feel in your nervous system if that change could happen for you, right? I'll write that down for the people who also have are the feeling people, right? It's tactile, it's sensory to write things down. In my posts, I'll be like, keep reading if you want to learn more. Listen up, pay close attention, lean in. Do you get the picture?
It's funny that you're saying all this, because I did a poll on LinkedIn this week. Was how do you learn the best, so I can implement that. You know, I want to learn like what are people saying, so I can implement that when I build this out.
I forget what the stats are, but I feel like 80% of people are visual learners. So, but there's still the other ones too, right? It's why some people will listen to a podcast. It's why your content in your content creation strategy needs to include video. It needs to include written posts. It needs to include audio, because you're hitting up all the different learning styles. So
and I am a multi-learner, so I have to have it auditory and visual before I can learn it.
I like to have it in more than one way too. But if I had to pick, I'd prefer visual, and I prefer tactile. Like I mean, look at me. This is my notes on what I'm teaching you today. I just put them on cue cards for myself. I wonder what kind of learner I am. Right? I mean, it's literally here. And then what I realized is I didn't number them, and now they're like in a big kerfuffle on my desk. I'm like, shit, they're in the wrong order. What order is it? Oh crap, where's that card I'm supposed to talk about next? So I kind of mucked it up.
Well, I love the fact that you use the word kerfuffle.
I kerfuffled it. I know, right? They're in a big bold heap on my.
Secondly, I homeschooled for 9 years, and I had different learners, and I had to learn all of their styles in order to help facilitate their learning better. And as a parent, I discovered that I had one child who was like 6% auditory. So every time I got frustrated because he didn't do the things I told him to do,
He wasn't listening.
It wasn't that he wasn't listening. He couldn't listen. He wasn't taking it in. So if I made a list that was visual and he had to check it off, A,
No
accountability, B, no problem, you got things done.
I love
So
it.
understanding people's learning styles means you're going to help them be successful.
Right. It's absolutely. It's why I do things. I have multimedia, right? I have a worksheet. I do a Zoom call. I tell people they're going to get the recording. I use a clipboard. I always have my books. I use visuals, right? I use multi-sensory. So one of the things I did not do today, which you might have noticed, is I didn't screen share. I know, I don't know. It's not my thing. It freaks me out. It freaked me out enough having to like go to 2 documents I have open on my bloody work screen. I don't love the technology. So for me, that bugs me. And I know a lot of people think, oh, I can't have this course if I don't have beautiful slide decks created by a professional or in Canva. Dude, you do not need to help people get transformational results by having slides. You need to have good information. You need to help people take action. So I don't want you to get hung up in perfection, right? I think that was something on one of the things. Like, I believe it was on the sheet and I forgot to write it down. But anyways, I'm a big, huge believer in just taking massive imperfect action. And so the massive imperfect action I'm going to ask you to take is to make those phone calls. or send those emails, or get into people's DMs or messengers and just go, hey, I've been thinking about you. I'm working on something. I'd love to run it by you, and get in their calendar. And I'm telling you, you will finalize this offer when you have a call to make in 2 days, to get on a freaking phone call to make an offer. It's what I did. I'm telling you right now, it's that external accountability that will get it done. When I was in that meeting on Tuesday with that guy who never met me before, that I said, hey, I help people write a book. And he said, oh my God, my business coach has been telling me for months to write a book. I'll never forget this story, because I did it imperfectly. I was at a breakfast networking meeting in Ottawa. Oh, Susanna's not on anymore. It was at freaking Zola's in Bell's Corners. Like, I'll never forget the story, because I just did it. And when he's like, yeah, I want to learn more, I was like, oh shit, don't ask me any other questions right now, because I don't know what I'm going to ask. I just don't know what I'm going to answer you. Like, it was not done. We took out our phones. We scheduled in a meeting for Thursday. And on Wednesday, I did this exact exercise, and I went to that meeting on Thursday. And I'll tell you what, I went to the meeting with my outline on a piece of paper in my notebook that I opened up and transparently put on the desk in front of us. And I said, oh, by the way, I took some notes because I didn't want to forget anything that I wanted to talk to you about. So like, people worried about like, what if I don't remember what to say? Have your notes there. And and you want to tell, and if they, like, I say it all the time, hey, if you see me looking down, it's because, like, if you're on a Zoom call with somebody, right? I'm like, if you see me looking down, it's because I like to have notes. I don't want to forget anything important. It shows preparedness. People think it shows that you're incompetent and can't memorize a presentation. Hogwash. You having notes and clipboards and things and whatever shows that you came to your meetings prepared. It instills confidence in the person that you're offering this invitation to. Don't be afraid to say, I've got notes in front of me. So if you see me looking down or looking down, because I take notes when I'm talking about people, because I want to write those things that they said to me that is a problem. I want to write the notes of what they say their goals are. And sometimes I'm like, hey, can you slow down a second? I'm taking notes. Like, I can't write as fast as you're talking. Like, I'll tell people, what was that again that you said? And I'll write it down. Because it's the secret magic sauce for when you're talking and you're presenting your offer back to them. And I'm telling you guys, it works. It works. It's worked every time I've done it. I did it for my book program. I did it for my marketing mastery program. I'm about to do it for my membership program. I don't build anything until I can prove that I can sell it. And then I go to work after somebody's paid me to go and do the work. Right? Aparna, Mel, Julie, you're looking at being part of the collaborative book thing. Do you think I've redone my summit interviews into chapters of a book yet? Hell no. I'm not writing a collab book until I have people that say, yes, I want to be in a collab book. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do the work. It means that I'm going to validate that somebody wants this before I go and build the whole thing. And present them with their chapter. Heck no. But I know that I'm confident in delivering the results, and I know that I'm confident in the results that I can help my clients get. So I go to work presenting the offer first, and then I go to work building all the stuff. Right? Like the summit. Aparna, you met me from the summit. Dr. Mel, same thing. Julie, we've known each other for a lot longer. Angie, I haven't asked you, how did you find this this training?
I don't even know how I ended up stumbling into your group, honestly. So I literally found you like yesterday.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found
Signed
me.
up for everything. So
Yeah, right.
I think she's got exactly what I'm looking for.
And I believe that that's serendipity, right? It happens. And but the summit for those of you, Julie already knows the story for that, but it was
I don't even have your sheet you're talking about, so I would love to have
oh, it was in really? Okay, well, I'll get that for you. It was in the it might even be in my paste. So let's see. It's in my paste button. I hadn't written a damn other thing in that chat. There you go. Look at that. Hashtag winning. Right? And I talk about creating community and like a membership site and everything else. You don't need a, you know what you need? You need a Zoom thing and a Google Drive. Like you can put documents in a Google Drive and present them to people like this. Like people get so hung up on the, and I know Julie, you'll be able to master it because you're like the tech genius, but for anyone else who isn't tech worthy or sophisticated or feels a little bit nervous about the tech, you can literally do this with a Zoom line, an internet connection, and a Google Drive link if you know how to write into a document. My stuff's not fancy, smanchy, pantsy. Sure, I'd love to, once I have a design, once I hire a graphic designer and get somebody else to do forms and all that kind of stuff. I love my Canva graphic designs. I'm not great at Canva workbooks, and those seem a little bit more above my pay grade, but you'll see all my graphics that I do. I love playing around with Canva for graphics. Workbooks, not so much. I still use a Google Doc for that. That'll be my next optimization, right? Remembering that whatever you create now, you'll get to optimize and optimize and optimize and make better as you go along. And then it becomes fun. Oh my God, I've seen some of my worksheets that I've made in the past. And I'm like seriously, it looks like a 12th grader did it. And I'm just like, man. I mean, but it was my first attempt and I was real proud of them when I first made them. And now I look back at them a little bit cringy at myself. And I remember somebody saying this about speaking, but it's the same advice, whether it's a program, whether it's a lead magnet, whether it's anything you're creating. If you can't look back on your first podcast episode, your first anything without cringing a little bit, you waited too long to start. Just get started now. Go help somebody get a result. And then make it better the next time and the next time and the next time. And then when you have enough clients, you can just hire a team to go do it for you. That's going to be my next elevation next year. Team building. So I don't have to do everything myself. I had 3 people on my summit, but these were all temporary. At this point, I enlist usually temporary help for big things, but I'd love to have some permanent help, right? So what can you be doing right now? Yes, StreamYard. I use StreamYard. StreamYard is my best friend. In fact, I love doing my trainings when I'm not in a group on StreamYard, because you can put, like when I was talking about, this is number 1, I could give somebody like one of these things and then put what number 1 is, type it out into they have lots of really cool tools. Love StreamYard. Plus, if you ever want to clone yourself, like you feel like you can't be in enough places at the same time, StreamYard lets you do that. 8 places in the same time, in fact, at once. I use it a lot for all of my live streaming. It's really fabulous. So we are past the next top of the hour. So clearly, now I know this is a 2-hour training, no matter what, going forward, unless I can figure out how to not talk so much. But I hope that you found that you got some really great value out of this, because that was the most important part for me, is to give you some tools and some confidence to go out and have some strategy sessions where you can actually sell your product, right? Sell this product that it's really a program, right? A coaching framework. You're going to be selling a framework to help somebody get a result, is really what it looks like. Aparna, Dr. Mel, Julie, we will get on a second call to really dial this in before you have a call. I'd encourage you, like I said, to set up calls. If I can ask you to be brave and bold, set up as many calls as you can for next week. I promise I've got you. I've got your back. I'll help you get this dialed in so that you can confidently have a call. We'll get on a call. If I need to get on a call with each of you one-on-one, that's my commitment to you, to make sure that you feel safe and secure with presenting this to these people that you book appointments with. But my absolute commitment to you is I want you to have clients by the end of this week. And I know I can help you do that with this framework. Okay. Angie, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what it would look like to join this program that Aparna and Mel and Julie are in, I'm happy to get on a second call with you and walk you through what this might look like for us to work together to be able to accelerate your results and get you to clients faster as well. So I know we're connected, I think, at least on Facebook. So I'll reach out, I'll private message you, and if you feel like you'd like to hop on a call and talk about what that might look like a little bit further, I'd love to have a chat with you.